Hey, good morning. This is PopPop's Lit RPG World, and I, of course, am PopPop. Joining me today is Erin Ampersand, the mother of the apocalypse. Not really, not really, but I like to start out with something funny. She is the author of the Apocalypse Parenting series and the standalone series Engineers.
It's a standalone side story. It's still in the Apocalypse parenting universe. It's called Engineer's Odyssey. So if you're like, I don't know if I want to read about a mom and kids, you check out Engineer's Odyssey, and that's how I get you, because that one's just bunch of adults, sort of party focused adventure story, and then you get done with that, and you're like, but I want to know more. And then you're like, maybe I'll give this weird stuff a try. That's the whole plan.
And that came out back in July, right?
Yes, it did.
Right around the same time that 1,200 of us were gathered in Denver, and you're breaking the news of the apocalypse there.
Yeah, no, that was pure coincidence. It looked very planned, but the Engineer's Odyssey side story starts with the main character and his friends trapped in Denver International Airport because the planes aren't flying anymore. Electricity has stopped. Cars have stopped working. And so they're trying to find a way to get home because they're all there on a business trip. And, then I launched this right after a whole bunch of us are going through Denver International Airport. And I gave a couple people, sort of advanced reader copies. Then I got some real agitated messages back on Discord, like, Erin, why would you give me this right before I go through this airport? I'm like, I wish I could say it was my master plan. It certainly looked that way. That was fun. Yeah.
Now, one thing that I want to thank you for are the names of the main characters in each of those. Megan and Vince. Those are names you don't see a lot in lit RPG progression in all of our genre stories. There is a tendency to repeat a lot of main character names all throughout. So thanks for having totally different types of names as your characters. That is the one thing that I draw. I draw very weird things out of the books that I get into or read. So thanks.
Well, I think one thing, I don't think anybody is intentionally like, I'll name my character the same thing as this other series. But it happens, especially when you haven't read everything, and nobody's read everything. I certainly intended to make my characters unique, but then a couple years after I had published, somebody came up and they're like, oh, your character's last name, is that a tribute to Lord of the Mysteries? And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Because their last name is the same as the last name of the character, the main character from Lord of the Mysteries. And I was like, nah, I just knew I wanted an Italian last name. So I looked through a list of the 100 most common Italian last names, ruled out the first 10, and looked through the next 20 to 30 for one that felt good to me. And we landed on this. That's probably exactly what that author did. So
at least you didn't use an AI just to draft a name, but you actually went through and did the work on your own.
Oh, let's not get into AI.
I will not. I'll stay far away from it.
That's so polarizing.
It is. Trust me, I will not get involved in that.
No.
Just to give everyone an idea, boom, here it is. Book 1 of Apocalypse Parenting, Time to Play. Now, you captured, from what I can, doing a big survey, you captured a totally different niche inside the apocalypse. Parenting, a family-oriented reaction to an apocalypse. Have not seen that yet. We've had the dungeon crawling. We've had Jez Kajayo's Rise of Mankind, all sorts of really dark and really different, team building to a degree as well, stories. But yours is a family oriented apocalypse story.
I love.
Why? How? Go ahead.
I love apocalyptic stories. I love post-apocalyptic stories. And it's funny to me because people hear post-apocalyptic and they assume it's dark. And it kind of is, I mean, obviously, like you look at, Dungeon Crawler Carl or what have you, and you see, the world is getting destroyed, right? But there's the things that's happening and there's the internal action of the characters. And one thing that I think post-apocalyptic and apocalyptic stories do very well is the internal motion of the characters is very hopeful. People are working to save what they care about. There are moments of beauty even amidst incredibly terrible things happening. So I love apocalyptic and post-apocalyptic stories for that reason. And as I was reading Lit RPG, I was reading I just went on a binge of those kinds of stories. And I enjoyed myself a lot. But what I saw over and over was protagonists almost always in the 20 to 30-year-old range. 75% of the time they were men. And generally speaking, they had very few attachments, or if they had any attachments, those people were generally very happy to sit at home in safety. And these very cruel systems that were mashing up worlds into some kind of, a sausage factory type thing were often very content to just let these people sit on the sidelines. Now, Crawler Carl doesn't, so there are exceptions. But even there, you've still got your main cast. I think by book 7 or 8, book 6 or 7, we're starting to have some child characters. People don't want to think about what happens to the kids in those scenarios because it's often very grim. Or they'll make up something where this very mean system is nice to kids or doesn't give them powers or whatever. And I understand why. I do. I like these books. It's fine for the kinds of stories they're wanting to tell. But I wanted to tell something that was more authentic to my own experience. And sorry, I know I'm going on here, but
no, that's what PopPop's Lit RPG World's all about. It's about you guys getting to say what you want to say and getting it out.
It's funny because I do get, my husband was getting very agitated yesterday because he's like, you got another Goodreads review where they called you a Dungeon Crawler Carl clone, when I didn't read Dungeon Crawler Carl until after I was pretty deep into writing my series. But I'm flattered by that kind of thing. Even if it's not accurate, because I think Dinniman does a lot better than most people with a lot of things that were very important to me. I wanted to write an apocalypse story that covered what happened to the rest of us, Yeah, sure, we've got, in apocalypse parenting, Megan's very into, she decides pretty early on, so very minor spoilers here, that if, we're all being enveloped by the system, if monsters are coming to town, and if the aliens are going to make everybody fight, which she finds out they are, her kids can't just sit back in safety. But how can she help her children survive something that, she's been told very few people may survive? And her answer is, even if overall the survival rate is low, if I can build a community here that bands together and keeps itself alive, that is my children's best hope of survival. And while that's true, it's also true for a lot of other people. I like the opportunity. I know you haven't read the series yet, right?
I am starting it with Gims. I'm a little bit into it, so you're allowed to spoil, but I can't tell you much yet. But as long as a 3-year-old doesn't become a necromancer, I'm okay.
I will try to stay away from any major plot spoilers. But one thing that I do want to say that hopefully you will enjoy. Even in book one, there are several, because she starts out in her house in her neighborhood, and the apocalypse hits at like, just before lunchtime in the middle of the week. So who else is at home? Other parents, other kids, and a lot of retired people. That's a lot of what she has to work with. And, obviously, all of these people start the apocalypse with disadvantages, but that doesn't mean that these things stay disadvantages. Like I wear glasses, you wear glasses. What if a healing ability could just fix that, and neither of us ever needed glasses again in our life? In book 2, there's a group that comes up called the Living Legion, and it's a bunch of people, mostly more elderly people, from local hospital and care home, who prior to the apocalypse were in a bad way. Maybe they had dementia, maybe they had osteoporosis. And as terrible as the apocalypse was for most people, for this group, it was a godsend. It gave them their lives back. They could walk, they could run, they could dance, they could sprint, they could remember their granddaughter's name. And so this group of people decided, hey, we've been given our lives back, and we're going to use those lives in the service of everyone whose life has been ruined. And they're a bunch of heroes, really. Like, they're just straight up I try to have people be a little bit more nuanced in my series, but Living Legion, straight up, they're here to be heroes. They're just a bunch of awesome, badass do-gooders. Just gonna say it there. If that ruins book 2 for anybody, I'm sorry.
That is a spoiler that is quite acceptable to hear, because now I have to get through it. It's next. So, I mean, I'm constantly reading. I'm trying to finish up one now. It's my first regression, which is also apocalyptic. So I never really cared. I could never comprehend why someone would read a regression book, because why go back in time when you knew everything? But I'm doing an interview with the author, and I have to read it. So regression I did, and of course, with every single book I've come across since January, I love it. I'm screwed. I'm doomed.
Can I ask what series?
It is The Return of the Wind Mage by Dominic.
I haven't read that one. I enjoy time loop stories and regression stories and stuff.
So now it's a whole new subset that I unfortunately now like.
No, I totally feel that, because the series that I'm reading right now, I'd heard a lot of good things about, and it's called Player Manager, and it's about a guy who gets the ability to see, like, basically like the FIFA video game statistics on soccer players in real life. And I'm like, but okay, like, I don't really watch sports, so
I don't either. Well, baseball Eagles, so but that's
enough people said it was good that I decided to give it a chance. I'm in book 14, and my entire interior monologue is British. So
there can't be 14 books to that series.
Oh, there are, though.
Are you doing it? I mean, how many are published?
There's like 6 published, and then I was like, oh, I don't usually go and read on Royal Road these days, but maybe if there's a complete book or two. And there were like 8 more books, and they were divided into novels, and I was like, well, but I want to know what happens. So, okay, get in, mate.
So it's one to watch. It's one to get. It's one to read. I've been looking at it. I've been like hemming and hawing around there, but I mean, like you said, everyone is praising it.
It's good. It starts off a little bit slow, and I wasn't sure, and then I got a little bit concerned when the main character first encountered female soccer players, because there was some there was some hints at possible misogyny, but I think the author did that on purpose. I think that the author started the main character with some flaws and prejudices so that he could show the journey of why those prejudices were wrong in a less like preachy way. And by book 14, there's so like the main character is like a big proponent of not just women playing soccer, but also disabled soccer, which is a whole new world that I wasn't even aware of. So yeah, a little bit of a social justice warrior myself. So I liked that trip, and I wanted to throw that out there, even if it's slight spoilers, because I didn't want anybody to get to that point where I was like, oh, are we gonna get sexist here and drop the series? Just stay tuned a little bit longer. We'll get past
And
it.
you're good. Just for everyone who's watching that may not know, Royal Road is a website where people go to develop their novels, their novellas, their stories. It's a very rich community. There are probably thousands upon thousands of books and other reading material out there. Most of it is in the science fiction, urban fantasy, and lit RPG communities. I'm not sure if they really want to expand out beyond that. I did not do Royal Road until meeting Reckwell right before the con with his stumbling up. I studiously avoided chapters and Patreon chapters because I am not a chapter reader. I am a book reader. Royal Road, cured me of that flaw. So go check out Royal Road if you want to find some additional books, and they're free unless you want to get rid of the ads. You have to pay $4 a month, but oh well. So now we have to get back on track. See, I love this conversation way because we get to talk about anything we want. So again, going back to finding your little niche, even the reviews that I got to look at on Amazon were highlighting mainly that you're different. It's different. It's something different from the DCCs, and they like the fact that you're using household goods and whatever you happen to find in your neighborhood, because there's no planning for this, and you do have kind of an interesting AI, so to speak. You're different. Your advisor is not in your brain. It's a cuddly toy.
Yes.
Hurdle. How the heck did that happen?
So hold on. I'm going to turn the laptop around for just a minute, and I'll explain why. I'm just going to turn this around for a second, and you can see, can you see on the back of that chair, there's a tiny stuffed animal?
Yes, barely.
Yes. So, as I was reading these post-apocalyptic and apocalyptic books, and I started thinking, I started thinking about writing that I've wanted to write since I was 7 years old. My past is a graveyard of unfinished novels, which is a whole nother story. But I started to think about, I thought about, as I said before, why are all these mean systems designed by aliens treating kids exactly the way that a human would want them to treat kids? That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Why are the kids not getting abilities until they're 12 or 14 or 16 or what have you? And I'm like, I know what my youngest would do if they got the ability for anything they want. All they want in life is for their stuffed animal that they love to talk to them and love them back the way that they love it. And honestly, that was the moment, that giraffe that we just looked at. I liked the idea so much that I just kept toying at it and thinking about it. And I was like, I'll just put some stuff up on Royal Road and see if it gets any response. And here we are today. I think it was a really good experience for me because it was very different than the way that I've tried to write books in the past. And that was extremely beneficial to me because I was trying to write books like a planner. And it turns out that I am not a person who can sit there with a rigid outline and write into that outline and feel happy with what they've written. So
you a planster?
yeah, I think so. I mean, I can't write any outline down because then I feel constrained by it. But I do have an outline of the story in my head. It's not like a total surprise where we're going to end up. There's always a route. An analogy I like to use with people is like, if you ever played a video game that has like a fog of war and you tell your character, I want you to go to the other corner of the map through the fog of war. The computer will initially draw like a straight line to get there. But then as your character starts walking, you might decide, oh my God, there's a horrible dragon there. Let's go this way. Or there's a mountain range here. Let's go that way. So you always have a plan to get to that other point, but it's going to change a lot along the way. And that is something that I've learned to love. I also do a lot of, the one thing I do write down a lot of, and I do plan a lot, is I do a huge amount of world building and like sort of establishing history and setting. And a lot of it never comes up. Like I've written at least a rough draft of the 5th book of Apocalyptic Parenting. So I think I can say with full confidence, like there are details about some of the alien species in the Commonwealth, like really cool details that just like will never come up in the series. They just won't. But it's still important that I know those details because even if I never directly tell them to the fans, they help make each of the alien species make sense as like a coherent entity. It's like, you know, if you can see like my fingers at the bottom of the screen right now, you don't know what my hand looks like, but you would know if I stuck up that finger instead from my other hand that it was not part of the same hand, you know?
So you have to know your world.
Yes.
In order to present what you give out to us, you have to know the entire world.
Right.
And that's what you know. So that gets you back into this. Now we have 4 books done.
Yes. Done and published.
Okay.
And there's a rough draft and the side story. So I guess technically 5 books, but 4 books in the main series, a rough draft of the 5th book. And I'm letting that one rest like a sourdough. And then I'll get back and edit it and probably add some to that because I think I might have rushed some parts. And then probably sometime next year, book 5 will be up on Amazon, and that will be a complete series.
Huzzah! That was one of my questions. Are we going to have book 14 like Player Manager or like He Who Fights with Monsters? But no, we're going to have a complete series. What else is going on in the mind of Erin Ampersand? Is this it? Is more coming? Are you going to do something?
I have figured out how to break down the roadblock that has been keeping me from writing for 2 to 3 decades. And now that it is gone, you cannot stop me from writing.
Good. Excellent.
I have a series that I've already started writing on Patreon. Working title is Measureless Magic. It's going to be more of a progression fantasy than a lit RPG. And the setting stemmed from, you know, there's all these worlds where there's like a magic scarcity and so forth, you know, like magic is rare, magic is hard to come by. I'm like, what if we did the other thing? What if the problem was, what if magic was like never destroyed? So you only ever got more magic than there was before. And it had gotten to the point where the entire world almost was enveloped by this magical storm that was just sort of warping everything it came across. And the main character lives on sort of this floating island surrounding this like wizard's castle that is somehow keeping back the worst of the storm. But unfortunately, the wizard is not there. The castle is probably insane, and nobody who ever goes into the castle comes out. So
that's it. Don't tell us anymore. That's a good hook. So, let that one go, and all those Patreon helpers will keep you going with that. Again, I don't do chapters, so I'm going to stay away from that until it's out in the world.
Yeah, well, something to look forward to. And then I have 3 other worlds that I have been world building, and will probably become series eventually. But I think it's probably better if I don't get too far into the details with any of those, because I'm not a fast writer. And hopefully that will change as my kids get older and stuff. But like at this point, I'm a part-time author. I'm a part-time mom, part-time author. It is what it is. I will say, because this is a question that comes up, Measureless Magic will not have a parent protagonist. I thought it would be good to do something else, stretch my legs or anything a little bit. But the series that will most likely come after that will probably get back to the parent protagonist thing, because I don't know. I mean, I think it's fun. It's got a huge response from people. Maybe not in the sense that like I'm getting invited to, have a publishing contract with Ace or anything, but it's touched people. It's touched a lot of people, and it's not something you see, right? I mean, usually
it's not, right? Definitely like, niche. You broke it there. That's something like you did it.
I mean, when I think about stories, like any story, any medium, you have sometimes parent protagonists like, my kid's been kidnapped and I'm going to go rescue them, but the kid isn't on the screen, or you'll have, something like that. If you think about stories where the kids and parents are working together, they're both real characters in the story. You've got the Swiss Family Robinson and the Incredibles.
Might be it.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody can think of anything else, I'd be really curious to know.
But Lost in Space, which is Swiss Family Robinson in space.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen that one, but maybe I'll have to check it out. But
it was a series back from the 60s, so that ages.
I've definitely heard of it. But yeah, I mean, I think there's almost a tendency to erase parents in adventure stories, which is kind of weird, because when you talk about it, like, Mother's Day comes up, Father's Day comes up, Dad, you're my hero, Mom, you're my hero. Then, you get there, I need a hero for this story. No chance. So.
Now, Audible, you have an audiobook for this. Who is your narrator?
So for Engineer's Odyssey, I have John Perala, who won me over because he was really excited about doing the work. Podium made several suggestions to me, and he was the one that we ended up going with. For the main series, we have Lori Catherine Winkle, who is amazing. I got the chance to meet her at Lit RPG Con. We got a chance to sit down and have lunch, and that was absolutely the highlight of a convention filled with highlights for me. I could not tell you how perfect this woman is for my series. My mom actually reads and listens to what I write, and she just got back from a long car trip, and they were listening to book 3, and they're like, and she was talking to me yesterday, and my mom was like, Erin, how closely did you work with her on this? And I'm like, I didn't have her email address until a few weeks ago. I haven't talked with her. My mom's like, it's almost like you're saying these things. She's like, I'm like, no, I told her. I'm like, it's like you're in my head. I cannot say enough wonderful things about Laurie Catherine Winkle. She has done a fabulous job. I am so grateful to Podium for hooking me up with her. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else to say. All the good things.
So I always come back then too. So Podium is doing the audio books for you. You've maintained rights to the ebooks and the paperbacks and all that fun stuff. All the other rights. Okay.
Yes.
I'm seeing that a lot. That Podium does a lot of the audios, and they have a really good cast of characters, I guess, to choose from.
It's so to get into the publishing side of things a little bit. It is genuinely not very difficult to publish an ebook. If you, any individual reader listening to this today, decided that you have a Word document on your computer, you want to get it on Amazon as a published ebook, will the quality completely be there? No, but you could have it up there in a week with, all the dots checked, all the crosses made, whatever. Do get your own ISBNs. Don't use Amazon's. It will be a headache later. If you're thinking about going wide, it's free on Ingram Spark now, so don't check that box on Amazon. So that's that. And also now, as of like a week ago, and I don't know if this is something you're aware of, PopPop, Amazon Kindle Unlimited changed its terms. Used to be completely exclusive. If you're on Kindle Unlimited, you can't be anywhere else. It's still mostly that, but now there's an exception for library services. So Engineer's Odyssey is not on Kindle Unlimited, so it was already on Overdrive and all of that stuff. But just last Thursday and Friday, I went through Draft to Digital to get Apocalypse Parenting onto the library services. And there's processing time, so it's not there yet, but, keep an eye out. You will be able to check out more Lit RPG from your libraries in the weeks to come. I'm super excited about that because I was a huge library brat.
I grew up in a library.
Right?
So, yes. Yep.
My husband's like, I'm glad you're excited about this, honey. I'm like, you're not? All right.
Well, I think
I love you, I guess.
That's going to lead to our next interview or our next conversation. We talk about publishing and all that kind of fun stuff because I know nothing. But since you are a self-publisher, I think maybe we'll try to come up with another conversation, but not now. That'll take too long.
What I was going to say with the Podium thing is, as you get into the publishing side of things, there's always the choice, like, do it yourself or give somebody else a cut of your profits and have them do it for you. And I know a lot of authors who have done their audio themselves, and it is definitely a way to make more money if you've got oodles of time and oodles of energy for it. But for me, Podium's been wonderful to work with. Yes, they do take a cut of my profits. They do. That's how it goes. But for me, as mentioned earlier, part-time mom, part-time author. And every author has to be a part-time marketer. Mm-hmm. Like, the more things you add to that plate, the less time you have for actually writing. So for me, it made absolute sense to go with an audiobook publisher. And they've done a wonderful job hooking me up with narrators, helping me with cover art, helping me get into Audible sales and stuff like that. I am still figuring out marketing on the ebook. I think I'm going to be trying to get into Instagram in the next coming months, which is another load on my time.
Totally different. Yeah. I'm not even trying that yet. I'm just there, but I'm ignoring it best I can.
Well, I was kind of doing that too, but somebody's like, Erin, you realize that you realize that like Instagram is full of like moms who love like MacGyvering things together and doing arts and crafts and stuff. And I'm like, I guess. And they're like, and Instagram loves books. And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, so why aren't you on Instagram? And I'm like, because.
Good answer. Yeah.
I'm thinking maybe it should be a different answer. So we'll try that out for a while.
Work that out. So I always check, who are your muses? I have to have a muse question. Who inspired you both in our community and our genre and as you were growing up? Who got you into writing, and who do you emulate?
Oh gosh.
You don't have to emulate, but who are your muses?
I don't know if those are the same answer.
They're not-
I mean, you know, as I said, I've been trying to write since I was 7 years old. So there's a lot of answers here, and it's changed over the years. You know, originally, huge respect for Bruce Coville. I don't actually know how to say his last name, but you know, he wrote pretty like he was big in the Scholastic era. Like he always had all those, you know, novels and chapter books there, but they were surprisingly deep, a lot of them. You know, a lot of real human issues that he touched on, even if the covers were silly and cheerful and cheesy and stuff like that. So he was a big inspiration. Madeline L'Engle. Here's a name that...
Wrinkle in Time.
Yes, Wrinkle in Time. Here's a name that probably most of the people listening to this will not be familiar with, and I think that is a genuine tragedy. H.M. Hoover. Helen Mary Hoover, I think is what the HM stands for, but it's HM if you search for H.M. Hoover. When I was in probably 6th grade, I was going through my school library, and I found a book called This Time of Darkness. And H.M. Hoover, in the 70s and 80s, wrote a whole lot of female-led science fiction, a lot of it post-apocalyptic. And it's YA. YA, post-apocalyptic, female-led science fiction. Holy shit, lady. And This Time of Darkness, sorry, probably not.
You're fine. You're good. Nope.
This Time of Darkness specifically, if any of you are familiar with Hugh Howey's Wool series, I have never heard of Hugh Howey directly crediting H.M. Hoover, but I have to believe that he read her book, This Time of Darkness, as a child, and like sort of forgot about it, and like his subconscious like percolated that up into the Wool series. I'm not, you know, everybody draws from other people. I'm not trying to suggest anything, you know, negative here, but like if you enjoyed Wool, if you enjoy sci-fi, This Time of Darkness, amazing. If you're looking for great science fiction that'll really make you think and you don't want to go with YA, H.M. Hoover's Another Heaven, Another Earth is a really good read. So yeah. And then my favorite book in the entire world is The Last Unicorn by Peter S. Beagle, and then followed closely by everything Terry Pratchett ever wrote.
A lot of people like Terry Pratchett.
He's so good. He's so good. But I don't necessarily think that I write too much like any of those people, except for maybe Bruce Coville. I think probably I have a little bit of the echo there in those. He had that wonderful sort of marriage of the mundane and the absurd. Oh, no, okay. I actually do have some more modern Rex. Will White and Rachel Aaron are two people who deeply inspired me. Like, because they're both self-published, extremely successful authors on Amazon, writing really professional quality stuff. And both of them made me think like, wow, this is great. And this is possible. You know.
Go ahead. You finish.
Oh, I was just going to say, and Will White has been so brave. Because I saw, you know, I liked him before he was popular. I did like him before he started writing the Cradle series. And the reason that I did that is because he would give away so many books for free. And I think he still does. He just, you know, he hits that free button on all his books and counts on himself to draw you in. So you buy that last book in the series, you buy the next series or whatever. And I really respect that and appreciate that because A, it worked for him, and B, like, you know, I think it shows that you know, you have to put yourself out there, and you shouldn't be afraid of giving stuff away for free. If it is good enough, people will buy your other books. They won't be able to help themselves. You're like a drug dealer, but like less bad probably. Anyway.
Now, one thing, and now he's also gotten himself mainly by himself too, into Barnes and Nobles. You will find his books all throughout many Barnes and Nobles, especially here in Florida. I mean, I actually went up to Gainesville and it's there. I went to the Orlando one, it's there. So he's being successful there. And I think a lot of that was his own.
I hadn't realized that. I'll have to look into that because I knew, obviously, tons of respect for Matt Dinniman as well. The only reason I didn't cite him on my inspiration list, as I said, actually read him well after I started into the series. But great guy, great series, great writer. But you know, I've been following his sort of journey into the physical bookstores fairly closely, but I hadn't heard about Will White. I'll have to look into that. Thanks for the tip.
Check out his Facebook page. He documented there as well. But I'm going to go back to Hugh Howey real quick. Now, I'm going to reach over here. This is the good thing about having bookcases everywhere.
Mm-hmm. There's lots of good things about having bookcases everywhere.
There's the Wool series. So yes, I read the Wool series, and I've watched Silo. Is the Apple TV adaptation of it.
I haven't gotten to see that one. I don't have Apple TV.
They had to make sacrifices. They had to make changes, of course, because that's what they do. And Hugh was really upfront about that as he was going through everything. In that, you know, he said they're the professionals. They can make it work. They make it work on TV. The series is so much better.
It's very rare that
so deep. He is deep in his world, and I don't think you can. Even with the short stories afterwards that bring it to the conclusion, I don't know if you've seen those as well. There's several stories that bring it to a conclusion to it, and he's just so deep, and the books are so much better. So that's me being my editorializing.
No, that's fun. I enjoyed the Wool series. I did. It just boggles me. I feel like H.M. Hoover is she's such a cool figure, and nobody's heard of her, and it drives me nuts. Anyways.
Well, we'll find out. We'll edit some of these. Like I say, these are going to go up on my conversations, go up online almost unedited, but I am going to use them. You know, I'll chunk them up and use them for, you know, different conversations to point out to people. But we've gone to about the hour. I want you to get back to writing and parenting and all the stuff that you do. I have to go out and be a true PopPop. But I did want to point out, Gimmel made a little note on her Facebook side. If you look at the very top where my head is off to the left or right, I don't know which one it'd be, to your right, my left. Those are some of her Disney Snow White collection that she was like, look, every time you interview someone, my princesses are in it. So there, now I can cut that out and tell her that I do talk about her.
You've talked about her several times. I look forward to hearing what both of you think about Apocalypse parenting when you get around.
And we will do that. And I'll see and I'll probably do a short, you know, either on YouTube or on Facebook, a reel or something, to do a quick review. I'm still developing my brand, so we can all do that together. Will I see you in July?
Yes, I was going to say it's been lovely chatting today, and I'll see you next year at Lit RPG Con, I assume.
Yeah, at Con 2. That's what I'm trying to call it, you know. So we'll see how that goes. But, you know, I'm a boomer, so I get my way a lot. So, Thank you
Well,
so
I
much
look
for
forward to
joining me, Erin. You have a great day, and
it. You
I'm going to
too.
sign off now. See if I can do this well. So this is PopPop signing off from my conversation with Erin Ampersand on PopPop's Lit RPG World. And why do I always lose my mouse and I look like a boomer? My mouse probably died. Did it? No, there it is. Okay. Again, it's all about the flubs and everything. So, Erin, thank you so much, and we'll see you next time. I so appreciate your time. Take care, everybody, and stay off my lawn.